Welcome back to another episode of Expertly Unqualified.
Welcome back, everyone.
We're super excited to bring you straight into our WHAT News, the news segment you didn't know you needed in your life, and now you can't live without.
So, going into it is weekly stats you didn't need to know, but now you know.
Now you know.
So, do you have any weekly stats for this week?
Okay, I have rediscovered a snack that I really enjoy. Do you ever go through phases where you eat like the same snacks over and over again? And then you wait like 6 months, then you finally remember how good the snack is. Well, at least 3 times this week, I'm gonna guarantee I'll probably eat this more this week. But I found my weekly snack, my afternoon snack, it just hits different. Carrots, pita chips, and Trader Joe's Mediterranean hummus. I go through phases of eating hummus, and I like making this one delicious version of hummus. You like zhuzh it up a little bit. You take garlic hummus, put feta on top, add diced up tomatoes, cucumbers, red onion, dill if you have it, and then it's like a Greek dip. But for right now, I just have been eating the Mediterranean hummus from Trader Joe's. It's delicious. You get a nice crunch in your snack, and it's actually pretty good for you. So I've rediscovered the snack. I've eaten it 3 times this week. Can guarantee you I'll probably eat it more this week as well.
Oh no, I love remembering I like certain things because I'm the same way where I'll eat the same snack over and over again and then just entirely forget it exists for a while. I'm the same way with like veggies and ranch. I love it
Yes.
so much and I can eat so much of them, but like for some reason I just never think I'm like just buy vegetable sticks and ranch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easy snack, delicious, pretty healthy. What's your weekly stat?
So, times I've actually meal prepped this week is twice.
No
So,
way.
I know, right? I have so many meals already at home. I made burrito bowls. They were
Ooh.
actually really good. And I also made what else did I make? Oh yeah, chicken noodle soup.
Ooh. I like a good chicken noodle soup. The weather has changed a little bit here in the Midwest, so it's gotten a little chilly. We cooled off a little bit, so the chicken noodle soup's gonna be good. And then the burrito bowls, is that for you to eat this week, or were you putting it in the freezer?
I do a little bit of both because I feel like I get sick of eating things before I finish all my leftovers.
Me
So,
too.
um I read online someone called it like feeding the freezer toll or like paying the freezer toll,
Paying
but
the freezer toll.
now whenever I make meal preps, I freeze like 2 to 4 of them for later, and then I put the rest in the fridge.
It's so easy to just take an extra half an hour, whatever, and just plan out something to throw in the freezer because you know one day, maybe a month from now, maybe 2 months from now, you're gonna be sitting there saying, "I don't wanna cook anything. What do I have to eat?" Boom, go to the freezer, you got a whole meal stacked and prepared.
It's nice because, like, I never finished off my leftovers for the longest time until I bought meal prep containers.
Yeah.
So now I just don't put my leftovers in, like, big containers anymore. I just make, like, individual meals
That's so
instead.
nice, cause then when you're hungry or it's lunchtime, you just go in the fridge, "I'm eating this today," you just go heat it up and boom, you're done. You're not, "Oh, I have to get out this bowl and scoop from here. Well, then I ate most of it, so then I need to put it in a smaller container, so it takes up less space in the fridge." I've been there, done that. It's way easier to just portion it out, definitely. Moving on to headlines of the week. Obviously, we can't compete with the trends of the week, but our headlines are personal to things that we've done this week. Um, I have 2. So
Ooh,
headlines was we had a bonfire, so I got to roast the first marshmallows of the year.
ooh,
I forgot how good roasting marshmallows is. We didn't have all the s'mores ingredients, so we just had giant marshmallows. And for Christmas, my brother and I got my mom and dad this little fire pit, and it's been awesome. And then we toasted marshmallows, and I love just sitting outside when the weather changes just a little bit and you're just hanging out with family. You're talking about random stuff, you're laughing, just so many great things can happen around a bonfire. So that happened this past week, and I have found I tend to like crack my back, pop my hips. If you were around me all day, I crack so much, it's like you take a glow stick. I wish I would light up. There we go.
You
That's the
are a
word.
glow stick.
I wish I was a glow stick. I would be lit up all the time. Yeah, so my hips, my back, my knees. Maybe I'm broken, I don't know. But I did find a Peloton hip mobility
Ooh.
kind of stretching thing that I've been doing, and it works wonders. It's painful while you're doing it, but afterwards you're like, man, I can actually feel my hips. It has you technically you're supposed to use like a lacrosse ball, but I have a softball. So you kind of just sit on top of it and stay there for like
Ooh.
30 seconds. It's a little painful. You can feel it in the glute. But then after that, you're all good. And then there was a couple other stretches with like a foam roller and stuff. So if you sit in a chair all day like I do most of the time, it's nice to stretch a little bit. And you may think, why do I need to stretch? Trust me, it really does help.
Yeah, I think they call that one trigger point release, but it's supposed to be the most effective. I really
Oh,
love
yeah.
it too. Um, I just found my foam roller this week and it was in a box I hadn't unpacked. So I got to roll out for the first time in like a month and it was so nice.
All right. What's your headline of the week?
Okay, so I'm back in school for the fall and I haven't missed a single assignment yet.
Nice.
So that's
That's
pretty cool.
awesome. You're starting off on the right foot.
Also, this is the first time in a long time I registered for classes like last spring. So I didn't have to even think about it. I was like panicking right before the semester started and I was like, am I registered for classes? I was. I actually did it like 6 months in advance for once.
You were looking out for your future self. That's awesome. That's gotta feel nice to not have to make that decision right away or be crunched for time. Did I do this? Did I do that? And you set yourself up. That's
I
awesome.
got lucky. I never picked any competitive majors that are like hard to get classes in. But yeah, no, I've never been prepared with registering for classes.
You're turning over a new leaf.
Yeah, I'm changing my ways for once.
That's awesome. All right, moving on to adulting. Adulting of this week. Holly, what did you do to adult this week?
I registered for health insurance again.
Nice.
So I
That's
remembered to do
important.
that early too.
Yes. There's always these weird random deadlines that you kind
Yeah.
of forget about, but health insurance, very important to have. Yeah.
And like I always wish it was just like Netflix where you just register for it once and you're done.
Yeah.
But no, you have to re-sign up every year.
Yeah. I mean, I can see it one way of where if you forget, if anything in your life has changed and you might need to update it. But yeah, it would be nice to just set it and forget it. That would be good. For my adulting of the week, two different things. One, I adjusted a subscription I had. So
Ooh.
I used the park district to work out, and they had this nice plan where you could use the gym and the track, and then it also included any of the workout classes. And so I was doing that, but I haven't gone to any of the classes recently because they kind of don't work in my time schedule. They don't really work in my schedule. Or I just don't feel like waking up and working out at 5:45 AM. I did that for about a year and I was kinda tired of it. So instead of just letting my subscription keep going at that higher rate, I was like, "You know what? I just use the gym and the track, so let me just change it." Did I contemplate over and over again of, "I'll do it tomorrow?" I was literally at the gym last night. I was like, "I can just go up to the person sitting at the front desk and ask this." But in my head while I was working out, I was like, "No, I can just call him tomorrow. I can just try and figure it out myself. I'll just do it later." And I was like, "You know what? I'm just gonna be an adult here and just go up to the counter." And it turns out I had to like sign a form and fill out some other information. So I was like, "You know what? I'm glad I did this." And it saves me like $23 a month.
Oh, not bad.
Yeah. So there's that. Other thing adulting I did was I filled out my mid-year review at work. You know how they ask those generic questions of like, what are things you've done well this past half year? Even though it's definitely further on than halfway through the year. What are some things you can improve upon? I don't know about you, but when people ask me those questions, I'm like, I have done nothing. I don't know anything. I'm just a blob. That's what I feel like. I have contributed somehow, but it's a little I have a hard time describing all of the things that I've done. Like, I forget everything I do. It's kinda like when you reach the end of the year, and then you think back and you're like, "What did I do in January?" And you literally can't remember. So it's kinda like that, and so I was able to I was kind to myself, and I kept track of some notes throughout the year of questions I asked and that sort of thing, so that was very helpful, and a little helpful hint to just write things down so you're not lost when people ask you those sorts of questions. And especially on a menu review, brag about yourself a little bit. Like, I personally probably am on the more conservative side. I'm like, yeah, I kind of sort of did that. Nah, I just needed to sit down and be like, I did this, 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 and this. And I did it well because this, and this. And that's very hard for me to do, but I was an adult and got through it.
I have the same problem where I have a hard time, like, bragging about myself and, like,
It's not even bragging, it's
yeah,
just facts, like, something factual about yourself, but then you
yeah.
feel weird saying, like, "I did this and I am proud of myself," which seems ridiculous,
No, I know
but
what you mean. Cause like, even when I was younger in, like, middle school and high school, my mom would always be like, "Every time you have an achievement, you need to write it down and save the documents so you can put it on a college application." And I was like,
yeah, you
"It's
need
just."
to advocate for yourself that you do a good job, and I'm like, "I don't know how." I'm learning.
But it's okay to be confident, and it's okay to be, like, able to show your achievements off to others, but I'm the same way. I have a hard time bringing things up.
Yeah, they're basically just asking for facts, they're not asking you to explain in every single detail. And I find it easier with these. You fill out like a form, but then you also meet with your manager. And so I find it a lot easier just to have a conversation about it instead of me trying to type out a paragraph to describe everything I've done the past 6 months. So that's been really helpful too, just having a normal conversation and not making too big of a deal about it. So yeah, that was my adulting for the week. And now we're bringing you the trending news of the week. We probably should have started off the podcast with this news. If you haven't heard by now, you probably live underneath a rock. And most of the time, I would say I live underneath a rock. I have to tell you, Holly, I found out this news from my dad. My dad had to break the news to me. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelsey are engaged. Woo.
I found
Congr-
out from my fiancé too, but
We're not hip. Apparently, my dad and your fiance are hip,
or they just listen to more sports broadcasts than I do,
I guess.
which I'm not sure. Was it also on like all the NFL networks, or was it
Probably.
just on Girl Internet, Girl TikTok?
Oh, it broke the internet,
Yeah, it broke the
probably.
internet.
And then my whole feed is like, Taylor's engagement ring is this. Look at her photos. Look at this little Easter egg she left. I knew it. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my gosh. The amount of people who spend so much time gushing over Taylor Swift. Imagine if they put all their time into something else. Obviously, like if you really like an artist, and she's a great artist, don't get me wrong, but I'm like thinking about if you spent all your time tracking down everything she does and oh, did you see that? I'm like, I would have no time left in my day.
And also, like, imagine all of the Easter eggs in her actual wedding.
Just think about how big her wedding's gonna be. And then yeah, it's kind of mind-boggling, I should say. I don't have words, but congratulations. Gosh, I forgot to add this. Thinking about Taylor Swift getting engaged, this is Girls' Roman Empire.
Oh yeah,
I can't believe I forgot that.
that was so good. I was laughing. I was like, "That's so witty. That's so smart."
Another trending topic. So last week, we brought up how Cracker Barrel changed their logo. They're updating the inside of their stores and changed their logo to be the most boring, basic logo anyone has ever seen. I was reading earlier today that they are agreeing to change back their logo. I don't know if exactly like go back to the exact old logo or just change it a little bit. I was like, I'm sorry, you announced this big thing, you adjust everything, and then they're like, haha. Everybody hates it. Okay, we'll go back to the old thing.
And they were really defending themselves at first. They were going online saying it's just a vocal minority who didn't like the new logo,
Yeah.
and they were defending and saying they weren't going to go back. But no, they listened. They listened.
It made me think that they were trying to pull the stunt. I don't know if you remember this from a few years ago. Remember when IHOP became IHOB for like a week
Oh
and
yeah,
a
I
day?
remember that. Like it almost seemed like a
International House
joke.
of Burgers.
Yeah.
Kinda like that, and then just to kind of promote IHOP and be different, I don't know, I was like, "Is that what they're trying to do here?" I don't know. But yeah, those were our trending topics of the week. Hopefully you enjoyed this version of WHAT News, the weekly news you didn't need to know, but now you know.
So now let's go into our main topic for the week. So, adulting hacks that are actually low key scams.
We have a lot of hacks for you, and they're kind of all over the place, so you better buckle up and get ready. And I don't know about you, but when I'm looking at adulting hacks, even if it's a good hack, I need about 50 people to tell me that it's a good hack. Or I need to read it in a whole bunch of different places and read it in a book and hear it in a podcast and talk to a friend who's done. And then I'm like, you know what? That sounds like a good idea.
And like, I feel like when we were growing up, there's lots of like little internet scams. So I feel like sometimes I am more cautious about taking advice from the internet.
Yeah, and you're like, how are you an expert on this? Like I'm a little skeptical if you're telling me that, oh, you need to, I don't know. There's so many random ones of like, you need to wake up at 4:30 in the morning, go on a 5-mile run, then do a 12-step skincare routine, and you'll feel your best and you'll drop all the weight. Like some of it's just ridiculous.
And it's always so funny too, because like, as someone who works very early in the morning, I don't think that all people who wake up super early are calm or happy.
You're probably stressing your body out.
Yeah. I feel like I see some of the most unhinged stuff at like 5 in the morning or 4 in the morning.
Definitely. Yeah, so you want to take it away? Let's dive into some of these adulting hacks. We'll go through some of the ones that are scams, and we'll go through some of the ones that we've kind of worked through and can kind of vouch for that they work somewhat,
So
maybe.
a lot of like adulting hacks that are actually scams kind of just like prey on like you worrying about things. So one of the big ones is extended warranties and protection plans.
Yeah.
So like whenever I think Target does it, if you buy any electronics at the self checkout, it'll ask you if you want a protection plan. But who actually uses them, especially when it's an extended warranty you have to fill out a card for?
Yeah, it's not just an easy, like, here you go, here's the receipt. Then you have to take the receipt, type in the number, go to the website, fill in all your information, and like mail something. It's not as simple as that. The only things that I may have gotten a warranty for were like expensive items. Like it would make sense for like a laptop. I don't even do it for my phone, but it probably would be good for a phone. If you have like an Apple Watch, that'd probably be good. I think I got one for my desk chair because I don't think it cost anything extra, or maybe like $10 extra, because the guy said like the leather wears out easily or something, or there was something else in addition to that. And then they're like, okay, here you go, just go to the website and type this in. Did I ever do that?
Yeah.
No. It's sitting somewhere. The little thing to get the warranty is sitting somewhere. But yeah, it definitely isn't worth it. Obviously, if you have an item that would cost a lot to replace or could easily break, then you might want to do the protection plan. But the companies are like, you need this.
I think the only time I've actually filled one out was for my KitchenAid mixer.
See, that makes
Yeah.
sense. That's really expensive. There's a whole bunch of different things that could break on it, and you don't want to be replacing that in a year. So I could see that. So if somebody asks if you want an extended warranty on certain things, think about if you really do need it.
And something similar are rebates. So I totally forgot these existed until I saw a Menards
I was gonna
commercial.
say, did you go to Menards?
Yeah.
Save big money at
So
Menards.
I remember my dad growing up would actually do them and fill out like
My parents do them, yeah.
yeah, and like I remember like back in the day you had to like physically mail them in too to get the rebate.
Oh, you still do?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, if you don't know or haven't been to Menards, it's basically like a Home Depot, and they have 11%, isn't it like 11% rebate on everything? So if you purchase something and you take the time to mail in, I don't even know what you fill out, but you mail it back in, they give you 11% back. So obviously, girl math, that's free money, more shopping sprees. But how many people are really going to Menards? They have different rebates on certain things, but I'm pretty sure it's 11% back on everything, and you just mail it. If you take the time, that's a way to save money. But yeah, there's a bunch of other things where it's like it's not worth it. But I mean, Menards is well known for the rebate, so I would definitely do it if you shop at Menards.
But yeah, I'm looking it up now and it's 11% off everything if you mail it in.
See, that's nice. You get the coupon if you take the time to mail this in. And I feel like a lot of people maybe don't pay attention to that. Yeah. The other thing I was thinking of was some hacks of when you need all these subscription services, okay? You used to just have cable, and yes, it got ridiculously expensive, but you could watch Disney. You could, I mean, you probably have to pay extra for like Lifetime or the Hallmark movie channel station. And it was just, one thing, and then you could pay a little bit more to get some more channels. Now it's like, I need Netflix for this specific show. I like Disney for that. So then you have like 6 streaming services that you're paying for, or maybe borrowing from other people, perhaps. I won't name names. No, I'm kidding. Because nobody would ever want to do that. No sharing allowed. But think about all the different things you have to have. If you download an app that might be helpful, they're like, oh, here's your free trial. Boom, you're in another subscription. Do you forget about it? 99% of the time you do. I'm trying to think of, or they make subscriptions sound way better. You're like, oh, if you sign up for a whole year, it's only going to cost you this. But if you do it monthly, it's going to cost you way more. So they try and like hook you. And they're trying to say, like, if you have this thing, if you have this product, if you have this item, your life is going to be so much better. Take it from me.
And like the things that they put subscriptions into are insane now. Like how like some cars require you to get subscription services to use all the car features, and those are so silly.
I saw one, I don't think it was a subscription,
Uh-huh.
but I heard something about like a certain car company, if you wanted to get more horsepower in your car, you would have to, yes, I think it was
Yeah.
subscription. If you wanted to get more horsepower in your brand new car, you could either do a monthly plan. I don't even know how it works, but a monthly plan to get more horsepower in your car, or you could pay it all up front for a lifetime price. Low price. Now, I don't even know what the price was, but could you imagine that? Ugh, and then you're like, "Well, which subscription do I stop?" And
Mhm.
then you forget about all your
Oh yeah.
subscriptions. And then you're like, "Well, where did all my money go?"
And similarly is like things like Fabletics, which I love their clothes, but I hate how you have to have a subscription to buy them at a
Yeah.
reasonable price. And it's the worst too if you like forget to cancel it and then
You need to set, like, 18 reminders of, or Amazon Prime, you can sometimes sign up for 99 cents for a week, 2 weeks, whatever. So, I think the hack here is to not get fooled into having every single subscription that you think you need. Pick what you actually need, and then if you are gonna try a free trial of something, which is honestly great to try out before you go ahead and purchase something, but just put a note on your calendar, put a reminder, maybe both, an alarm, just something so you don't forget. Yeah.
and like so do you have any opinions on meal delivery subscriptions? Because I feel like they can be helpful if you're like super busy and can't shop, but they're so expensive compared to like ordering delivery groceries.
Yeah, I have to say, so my family did HelloFresh for a little while, and honestly, it was great. You would pick your meal. I think we had 2 per week, and you'd get delivered. You could skip weeks. It's really nice. It was great because we were kind of in a rut of, "Well, what do you want for dinner?" "I don't know. What do you want for dinner?" And just felt like we were never making dinner. So it was nice to have, "We're getting this week," and there was usually leftovers or whatever, but it does get very expensive. You can have the discount codes or whatever, and it brings it down a little bit, but then it ends up being like $10 a person per meal, which if you think about it, HelloFresh and other delivery services, perhaps it probably is cheaper. It's definitely cheaper to have that than go out to eat at a sit-down restaurant. But then you think about, wow, this meal was actually not that hard to make. It used 6 ingredients, and I can get the ingredients at a grocery store for $10 for the whole meal for everybody. It kinda makes you stop and think. So, if it works for you, that's great, but if you realize it's kind of an added expense you don't need, then definitely just don't do that. But if you got a coupon or something, it's worth it. You get some good ideas. What I found was it kind of ended up being the same sort of meals every week. So there was some sort of burger, some sort of chicken with vegetables. So just kind of pick and choose. But then again, you probably want to break it down to say, well, I can make this cheaper on my own, but I just have to plan for it. That's the kicker.
And, like, sometimes it's not really about just being, like, perfect, it's just, like, making slightly better choices, so it's like, if you're in a rut of, like, eating out every day, it's definitely a good, like, stepping stone.
Yeah. It's a step in the right direction, definitely. Or if you're just learning how to cook, it does give pretty good directions, and then you're trying new foods or whatever, and then it gives you everything you need, so you don't need to worry about that. So, there's pluses and minuses just like everything else in life. Alright. What else you got, Holly?
So the next one is different millennial starter packs because I feel like millennial and Gen Z were in, like, an awkward generation phase where they stopped teaching life skills in home ec and shop class
Could say that again.
and then just pushed everyone into college no matter what. So I feel like there's definitely, like, a big market for life-changing starter packs to learn how to be an adult.
I need the book of How to Adult. It's like you go to Google some certain question you may have, here's 50 different versions of how you could do it. Here's 10 different books. Here's a bunch of YouTube videos you can watch. Here's a bunch of Reddit threads of people who've tried it. It's overwhelming because you're like, okay, I have this problem and I need to find an answer to it. Can you find an answer to it? Perhaps, but you have to spend all this time sifting through all the different things. And you're like, no one taught me any of this. And I think that's a part of learning how to become an adult is realizing that you're not gonna have the answers to everything, so you kinda have to go through life making a decision and then learning from it, whether it's good or bad, but it can be so overwhelming.
And there's just, like, a lot of products and companies that are willing to, like, pitch, like, a perfect solution to everything.
Oh my gosh, get this planner that's 300 pages, it's got stickers, it's got a ruler, it's got a folder in the front, daily, weekly motivation for the low, low price of $89.99.
And, like, have you seen the trend of, like, having different, like, little boot camps run by, like, influencers where they do little courses?
I didn't know that. What's that?
So, like, there's different topics for, like, different ones, but they'll have little week-long web seminars and, like, little
Oh,
group chats you can go into. So there's also, like, just different little, like, courses on, like, adulting and just various topics that you can take too. But again, some are good, some aren't. You just have
yeah.
to do your research, you know?
I like that because I feel like once you become an adult, you have so many more decisions you have to make, and then you end up getting decision fatigue. Because if you think about it, all growing up through like high school or even into college, everything was set for you. You wake up at this time, you get to school at this time, you go to all your classes, you end school, you have your extracurricular activities, you go home, and you do it again. And you did have done that for like if you went all the way through college, you've done that for 20 plus years you're so used to, okay, if I do this, then this, and this. And then the second you graduate, it's, all right, where am I going to live? How am I going to afford this? What job should I get? Should I go to grad school? Do I like my current job? Am I going to be in a relationship? How do I handle this relationship? Do I start dating? Do I join a workout? And by the end of the day, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired of this all. What do I need to do? And there's unfortunately no one that's like can stand in front of you and be like, here's your choice. It's always option A.
We could probably do a whole episode on decision fatigue too, and, like, it's something I've personally really felt because it's like Well, you were saying, like, in school, it's really easy to know exactly what you need to do. Like, you literally just look at a rubric and just follow it exactly.
Here's a syllabus, here's a schedule of all your assignments when they're due.
But once, like, you're done with school and you have to start making choices, like, and there's no right choice, how do you make a decision?
Yeah, I've definitely struggled with that too. I do have to say though, I've been kind of geeking out with podcasts, books, really anything that I can read. And honestly, I take everything with a grain of salt that I read, but sometimes it's nice to have topics or ideas that kind of keep coming up over and over again. You're like, oh, okay, this makes sense. Okay, so like I've been saying, I've been reading a lot more and I've found some really interesting books. And what ends up happening is I'll be listening to a podcast and then they have the author on and then they talk about the book and what the author has found out. And then I'm like, that book sounds interesting. So I've gotten a lot more books in my little library this time. Um, highly recommend this book. Come here, look at this. Boom. It's called The 20 Something Treatment, a Revolutionary Remedy for Uncertain Age by Dr. Meg Jay. And she's also the author of The Defining Decade, which I mentioned a few episodes ago, which we might have to do a deep dive into both of these books. Honestly, such a good book. It talks about so many different things, and I won't bore you with all the details, but if you're looking for a really good book, I highly recommend this one and The Defining Decade. But it ties back into decision fatigue. And so in her book, she talks about how there's two types of world problems. We deal with small world problems where you know all the consequences, all the choices, all the outcomes. And she describes like if you roll a dice, you can figure out what are your chances of rolling a 4, or you know you're going to get 1 through 6. So you know that's set, you know the answer to it. But there's a lot of large world problems where they're uncertain. And so this is what she says. Large world problems aren't risky, they are uncertain. And in decision making, there's a difference here. Large world problems are situated in a world that is, well, large, and thus all choices, consequences, and probabilities cannot be determined. Unplanned events, chance encounters, too many variables, and too many unknowables prevent us from modeling either the present or the future with any certainty. The world is simply too large and too much hasn't happened yet. And then she goes on to say, what makes large world problems so difficult is we can never know all of our alternatives, whether they be for jobs or partners or cities or all the things that might or might not happen if we choose one over another. That's why there's no right answers for whom to marry, how many children to have, or what are the associated probabilities of happiness or success. So it goes for when and where to vacation, for which apartment to rent or which home to buy, for what outfit to wear, for what to believe, for what couch to buy, for what hobby to take up, for whether we should be an accountant or a teacher. No formula can give us the answers to our lives. And I was like, what? Who knew that? And so she goes on, to talk about all the different problems, whether it's small world or large world. And she goes into more detail about solving large world problems. We never know what the outcomes are. And so one of the coping mechanisms for the large world problems is reassurance. Am I making the right decision? Did I do this right? And we have a really easy time being able to be reassured. You text your mom, hey, does this email sound right? Can you look, especially when I was younger, can you look over this paper? Does it sound good? Does this make sense? And you kind of end up second guessing yourself and you're like, is this right? Is this right? What she says is that studies show that seeking reassurance effectively makes someone feel more anxious down the line. Every time we reach out for reassurance, we undercut our own developing self assurance. It gets in the way of creating confidence in our ability to manage large world problems and to see ourselves as capable and strong. So it kind of backfires. So we're trying to take a large world problem, solve it like a small world problem, and then be reassured of our choice. And unfortunately, that doesn't happen in life. And one more blurb. I know I'm reading most of her book, but it honestly is a really good book, and I want you guys to hear this. What Dr. Meg Jay says. What is true is that regret happens when we view a large world problem like a small world problem. In a small world where all choices, consequences, and probabilities are known, we can be certain about how much we would have won if only we had picked a different horse in a race or chosen different numbers in the lottery. In a large world, however, we can never truly compare the choices we made with those we didn't make. We can never know what would have happened if we had taken another job, or married another person, or moved to another city because those scenarios don't play out with us. So, when we conjure up regrets about what might have been, we're comparing what we know to what we don't know. What's worse is that, much like the upward social comparisons we make on social media, we torture ourselves with how the realities of our own situation stack up against our imagined ideals. So, basically, again, this is from the 20 something treatment by Dr. Meg Jay. But basically, what she's saying is we spend so much time when trying to make a decision about something large, about who to marry, what job to take, where to live, that we're comparing what the outcomes could possibly be, even though we might not know any or all of the outcomes. And we spend so much time worrying about the what ifs instead of focusing on what is now, like what's actually happening, and not accepting. I know sometimes I don't do this, not accepting that we won't know the outcome of a decision until we make it. And she kind of goes on to describe, like, that's what life is. No one can tell you how everything's going to play out because it's so unpredictable, especially with those large life decisions. So you just need to take the time to remember that your life is really just you making decisions. And so you kind of have to learn from your experiences and stuff, and don't try to solve a large world problem like a small world problem.
No, I definitely need to read that book because, like, I feel like everything you were reading is, like, very central to, like, all of my anxieties right now. I'm the type of person that likes to try to think about every possible thing that could go wrong in every possible situation.
Yeah, she talks about that
Yeah.
catastrophizing where you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, this person didn't text me back right away. They hate me.
Yeah.
They're not gonna wanna be my
Yeah.
friend. I just lost a friend. Now I'm gonna be lonely. Now I'm gonna be sad. Then I won't wanna do this." And in her other book, The Defining Decade, she talks about all these things and talking about, like, "Oh, I can't do that or I can't do that." You change it to, "I'm not able to do this yet, but once time comes, I'll be able to do this." Or kind of looking, obviously, people are like, see the bright side of things. But I think the biggest thing is just understanding you're not, even if you're the smartest person in the world, you're not going to be able to sit there and know every single outcome of every single decision that you've ever going to make. So it doesn't help us to sit there and think about all the what ifs and all of the bad things and start thinking about all the bad things. Instead, you can think about, what if all this goes right? What if this is the best decision I've ever made? And sometimes you can't even think of all the decision, like all the outcomes of those decisions if they do turn out to be good. So instead of wasting all your time and energy on trying to figure out something that could be whether good or, you want to set your sights on what if everything goes right, and what if you learn from it?
That's really good advice, and I definitely need to read that book because, like, one of the things I've been thinking about recently is I need to learn how to be more present in the moment and, like, happy with living in the moment because I feel like
Yeah.
for so long I've been, like, just thinking about the future and setting myself up for like, future happiness that I've lost touch with how to just be happy.
Yeah, because you start thinking about, okay, I have this job now. I'm in school right now. Once I graduate, I'm gonna get this job. For you personally, like, we just moved, right? And you're like, okay, well then once I get this and then this and then, and it's like all those pieces aren't gonna fit exactly how you think they are. And if they do, A plus for you. But I mean, what are the odds? And I think you spend so much time, at least nowadays, it's like, okay, you got a job? That's not enough. You need more money. So you gotta have a side hustle to your job. You have a job and a side hustle? Well, how's your relationship with your parents? You don't have all those things? Well, then you're far behind. So you have all these things. Well, do you have savings? Do you have, and
Yeah.
for people our age, I feel like you're stuck with, oh my gosh, I have to have all 50 things in order to be able to see myself as successful. I think back
Yeah.
all the time to, like, when I was a kid and how fun it would be to just be outside, go walk down the street, ride my bike, go see if my friend is doing anything. "Oh, let's go to the park. We rode our bikes here." Just, like, all the little things when you were a kid that you took for granted, and now I think about, like, how awesome that would be to just sit there and call your friend's home phone number and say, "Hey, you wanna come over and play?" And you just make up the most random stuff. It's almost like life seemed so simple back then, and yes, it was on one sense, but you really could take your life now and try
Uh-huh.
to make it more simple, which I've been trying to do more of, or just try to stop all the craziness of like, "Oh, I need to have all this set up. I need to do this, this, and this." And it's like, no, I have a time. I don't need to have my whole life figured out right now. I don't need to have everything in order, all my affairs in order. I can just sit back and be like, okay, man, look at all that I've accomplished. Look at all this. And you know what? While I was doing that, I enjoyed doing these few things. And you know what? I need to do more of those little things because that's what brings joy into my life and slows everything down. That's what that's what I've been trying to do, but it's tricky in a time like now because it's like you need to be all of these things, but actually you really don't need to.
But yeah, that's a good way to phrase it because I've been thinking pretty similarly of like there's like so many things going on at once. Like I'm always like so busy, but everyone has a different idea of what successful means, but I don't know what my idea is.
And unfortunately, no
Yeah,
one can tell you what it is
I
either,
know.
and you're like, "But I just want to know."
So now I'm just like left thinking of how I need to slow down and think about what makes me happy and makes me feel like
No
I'm
one
living in
told
the
me I'd
moment.
have to do so much soul searching. I'm like, "What? Who am I?" And I'm like, "I don't know, I just do all these things." I'm like, "I have to sit and be with myself? What?"
Yeah, because I always want it to just be like some checklist or like homework assignment I can do where there's just a rubric I fill out.
I got an A. Like, that's what I need. I need that reassurance of like, "Okay, you did this. You graduated. Cool. You got a job. Cool. You're in a relationship. Cool. Alright, now you just need a house, a family." And I'm like,
It just doesn't stop ever, really.
"Yeah." And no one has everything figured out. So we shouldn't spend all of our time trying to figure out everything.
And like one of like the scariest things for me is like if someone tells you that they can give you all the answers in life, they're probably wrong.
Yeah. And would
They're,
you really wanna know every single answer, every single outcome?
yeah, and I guess it's just like you don't get to know,
Yeah.
and that's
You
okay.
you just have to live through it.
Yeah.
But kinda going off of finding, like, the little things to take joy in, I was listening to another podcast, go figure, and they had on, let's see, it was Girls Gotta Eat. I like listening to that podcast, and they had on Liz Moody, who I'd never even heard of before, and she has her own podcast, and so I decided to, you know what? That's I needed some more podcasts to listen to. That might be my next weekly stat of how many I'll keep track of how many episodes of podcasts I listen to in a week. It's way too high. One second.
It's still healthier than doing a lot of other things though.
That's true. That's true. I get a lot of words into my brain every day. And on one of her podcasts, so this is the Liz Moody podcast, she talked about creating a joy list. So I'd never heard of this and I thought it was a great idea. And she described that she does this for each season of the year. So, like the season beforehand, she creates this joy list of all these little things that she's looking forward to. Obviously, you don't need to have 45 minutes to create this list. You don't need to have a fancy notebook, although I do love a fancy notebook and some colorful pens. You can literally just take a sticky note or your notes app because you know your notes app on your phone has the most random things. But what she does is every season, she creates a list of all the small little things she's looking forward to. And it's her goal to try at least to try to get all of them. And they can be as simple as, like, she mentioned in the summer, the smell of sunscreen or the feeling of sunshine on your face. So it's all the little things that you kind of forget about because you're going through daily life super fast. You just keep going, going, going. So, thanks to her podcast and her joy list, Holly and I decided to create a joy list for the fall, which obviously fall is marked by when pumpkin spice comes back to Starbucks. I'm totally kidding. I'm a little angry at Starbucks. No, I'm kidding. And so we created our joy list that we're going to share with you. We'll also post it on our Instagram, but we want to encourage you to create your own joy list. So hopefully, maybe if you don't know where to start, maybe ours will give you some ideas, but take a sticky note, take out your notes app. If you need to pause this to create your little joy list, do it. And one thing I'll say is just make it visible. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. I mean, like, I literally here, come here. I literally wrote it on a sticky note, and it started off nice and neat, and then it kind of went all over the place. And I may rewrite it. I may not, but I'm gonna put it on my mirror so I see it in the fall. And we gotta, because September is right around the corner, which is ridiculous. But I thought, what better way to start off the fall? So, Holly, do you want to start with your little joy list?
Oh, yes, I can go first.
Okay.
So
I'm guessing we're probably gonna have some of the same items.
before I go into it, I have had access to pumpkin spice for over a month.
Oh my god.
I know, I feel so special. It's horrible because I don't even like pumpkin spice that much.
Again, I could have it like once a year.
I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan, but it's still good like once a year or so. But
Yeah.
okay, so going into my joy list, I actually really love the fall, so I'm pretty happy. So I'm really excited to eat fresh Honeycrisp apples.
I forgot about
They're so
those.
good.
Okay, so Honeycrisp, yum.
And like especially like when you get like really big good apples in the fall, they're so good.
Yeah.
I'm also excited to go to pumpkin patches. I was born in October, so I was always like a pumpkin patch baby, you know?
Yeah. I haven't gone to a pumpkin patch in like years, but that would be something fun to do.
But so I'm excited to go there. Let's see. I'm also excited for being able to wear all of my clothes again. I grew up in the Midwest and almost all of my clothes are winter or fall clothes because I
I
feel
feel
like it
this.
lasts like 3/4 of the year. So for a while I was living in the area of Washington DC and I realized I don't have many summer clothes.
I hate summer clothes. They're just not comfy.
I know they're not. So
Give
I'm
me some sweatpants and a sweatshirt. I'm good.
And I was, like, looking through my closet last weekend, and I was like, all of my clothes are for winter. They're all sweaters, so
You got like 45 sweatshirts all lined up. You're like, yes, let's go.
and okay, this one might sound ridiculous, but I'm really excited to wear my winter coat again because I have a really
You have a nice winter coat,
yeah.
though.
So, like, pro tip from my mom is always go shopping at the end of the season to get
Mhm.
things. So, I got a Patagonia parka for, like, 75% off.
It's a steal.
I know. So, I'm excited to wear my winter coat again. Um
Nice.
And another thing I'm kind of excited about, I got a new apartment that has a indoor pool, so I'm excited to go swimming in the winter.
Oh, that will be nice.
Yeah, so I won't have to go far, I can just walk to my pool, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, that'll be a good activity when it's rainy or cold, because it gets cold very fast
And
and very
Caroline
easily.
kind of mentioned it, but I got cool this week. So I'm excited for soup season. I really love
I
soups.
didn't even write that down. Soup.
Yes.
I love a good chili.
Yeah,
Crock pot
chili.
recipes. There's just so many you can do.
And another one is football food. I'll be honest,
You
I
have
don't
such good ones. I need to add this to my list.
because I don't pay attention to football, but we always host football party. I should invite you and you.
yeah.
And so we have like football watching parties, and I love to make like pigs in a blanket and chili and wings. So
Sign
good.
me up. We'll be there.
Chips, yeah,
It's
queso.
funny because I'll be watching it, but he probably won't.
But yeah, it's funny because Steve gets heated too.
I will be sitting there yelling at the
Yeah.
TV.
I think I've heard your dad, or did you hear Steve talk? Yeah, one time,
Probably both.
one time we had a phone call, and she was like, "Oh, Steve's watching football. I hear."
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah. It's just, you just get used to it.
And it sounds silly to say I'm looking forward to this in fall, but I'm looking forward to snow. It'll probably snow in November. I count that as fall.
Yeah, November's definitely fall in my book, and yes, it has snowed in November, so we'll see.
And I really love cute Halloween. I'm not very I'm not a spooky Halloween person, you know. So I
Yeah.
like the cute like pumpkins, fall leaves, like
Mhm.
acorn decor. So I'm excited for that too.
I like that.
And what else?
I'm really impressed you're coming off of this with coming I can't coming up with these ideas off the top of your head
So
because I would not be able to do I have it written down because I would forget
this
it.
is also it's funny you mention this. This is one of the things I'm trying to work on is actually writing things down because this is one of the reasons why I get so nervous is because I just have lists in my head I just read off of.
Oh, so you just keep going. Do you
Yeah.
practice I do this all the time, where you practice your conversation before you talk with somebody. You're like, "I'm gonna call this person on the phone,
Yeah.
and I need to adjust something on my credit card, and I'm gonna say, 'Hi, I need this adjusted. Can you please help me?'" And then if they don't answer exactly the way you thought you were gonna answer, you're like your brain.
Yeah. Like, when I was younger, I did, like, debate and, like, speech a lot for some reason, I thought that you weren't allowed to have things written down because you had to have everything memorized.
Oh gosh.
So for some reason, that just, like, never occurred to me. That's, like, it
This is
helps
why you're so good as a barista because you can remember everybody's order.
it's so much because then, like, the other thing is, like, you don't realize this, but, like, you have to be having 3 conversations at once,
Yes.
especially, like, if you're in management, like, you will be having 3 conversations at once.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a good thing. I think it stresses people out.
Yeah, it can
But
cause
anyway,
stress.
so for my last one, this is also a strange one, but I'm really excited for my cat to be nicer because every winter when it's cold out, my cat's nicer because he likes it to be 86 degrees. So he'll just sit next to you to like steal your warmth. So he's just nice all winter because he
Oh,
wants to sit next to us and steal our warmth.
there you go.
So it sounds really weird, but my cat is always the nicest to us in the winter.
Interesting.
So
He's
he's
like,
gonna
"I'm
be,
cold, I'll be nice to you, let me cuddle."
yeah, literally.
Oh my gosh. Well, that was an awesome joy list, and I wrote mine down because I cannot remember anything. So, and what's impressive is I don't have anything on my list that you had,
I'm
but I liked
surprised.
your whole list. Okay, mine is when it finally starts turning a little bit, so instead of it being, like, 80 degrees, maybe it's, like, 72 and sunny, driving with the windows down and you're belting out a song from your favorite playlist.
Oh, that's so nice.
It doesn't matter what song it is, but you just feel like a rock star because you get the windows down, the wind is blowing. You have to turn up the music louder so you can hear it. I love doing that. It's also pretty epic at the beginning of summer once it's finally warms up, but I like it in fall too. Setting up a girls' night. So my friends and I have this problem of like, we're like, let's get together. Let's do it. Like everybody's down to get together. But then we never set a date or time or what do we want to do. And and then you're like looking at your calendar. I feel like a middle-aged person where it's like, well, you gonna have anything booked for Thanksgiving next year? And so we finally picked a date today, actually. So we're gonna have a girls' night. We talked about the idea of having a board night, perhaps. I don't know if we'll do that this time, but I had that written down, where each person brings a different board. So, like, someone brings a dessert board or a charcuterie board or a wings. But it literally could be anything. But each person brings a different board, which I thought would be fun. And finally, scheduling something else, like, oh, because everybody's so busy. When you go on like a morning walk and you have the crisp fall air in your walk, that's the best. The smell of the leaves and the crunch when you step on them, I really do like that. Having more bonfires because that was a lot of fun. Hopefully, I can make a full s'more this time and I'll have all the ingredients. Pumpkin muffins. I have this recipe for 3-ingredient chocolate chip pumpkin muffins that are super easy to make and they're super good and I could eat all of them. Here it is. I have it memorized because it's that easy. Take a box of spice cake mix. Betty Crocker has it. Your local grocery store. Spiced cake mix, a can of pumpkin. I think it's like 15 ounces of just regular pumpkin, not pumpkin pie filling, just regular pumpkin, and chocolate chips. That's it. Mix it together, put it in a pan, 350 for like, now I'm thinking of how much. Maybe 15, 20 minutes. They're done. They're delicious. I'm looking forward to making those. And then finally, oh, I have a couple more. Okay. Um, Drinking a hot coffee on a cool day.
Ooh.
I think last year I did that. We got like pumpkin spice coffee on sale. So you just brew a cup, add a little cream to it. Delicious. And then it's my favorite to nap in a rainstorm with the window open and the cold breeze coming in. So I'm looking forward to those. I feel like I've just been public speaking for 3 hours. No, I'm kidding.
I am surprised I didn't write any of those down because I was, like, especially happy today because I could actually drive with the windows down because it was cooler.
Yep.
But yeah, no, those sound really nice too.
I was gonna say you really love fall because you had it memorized. So we encourage you to make your own joy list, and if we forgot anything on ours or you wanted to add any, comment on our YouTube or Instagram or even Spotify and create your joy list. We're gonna share them there, and hopefully you'll create your own that's visible and then remind you of all the joys the little things in life bring you. So thank you to Liz Moody for explaining this on your podcast. All right. What else? We had a nice productive tangent there. Not even a tangent. It was a nice sideways thing. What else do we got? Do we have any more hacks that really aren't hacks, or should we go into some of the hacks that actually work?
Like, we can go into hacks that actually work because I feel like the hacks that are scams are really just things saying
Do this and
there's
make you feel
some
better.
magic solution for
There's
the
no
low, low price of $500.
Yeah, $500 only.
But yeah, like in reality, like you have to just do what's best for you, and there's no right answers and there's no wrong answers.
You can definitely ask people what they have done, which can be helpful for you to make an informed decision, but unfortunately, no one is you. You are the only you. So you kind of have to figure it out yourself. And that's taken me a long time to figure out. And I'm still figuring out. But yeah, that's basically when they're like, what is the meaning of life? And it's like, you need to figure out you. And that's a lot. I'm kidding. Um, okay. I have a list of a few things that have helped me. This will be our expertly unqualified advice of the week. A longer section of this. Awesome. Okay, are you okay if I dive right in?
Let's go.
All right, I created a thing that helps me personally. Me. It may or may not help you. I may or may not have read these 500 times in 400 different places. But these are things that kind of just stuck. And it took a long time, but creating lists. I have a hard time remembering things. I also sit and question everything. So then I have like 18 questions going on in my head, and then I get anxious and like freaked out. Creating lists. Lists of just everything you need to do in the weekend. Everything you would like to complete. Not that it has to be completed, but you'd like to complete. And it keeps you on track. Sometimes I forget all the things that I would like to do. Then I write them down. I'm like, oh, okay, I did this, and I'm feeling productive. Let me do the next things. And then lists of all the things I'm worried about, all the things I'm thinking about, all the things that are sitting in my brain, taking up space that don't need to be. Put them down on a piece of paper. It can be a sticky note. It can be a scrap notebook. It can be on the back of a receipt. It literally can be anywhere. But just write it down. It gets it out of your brain, and then you can choose to think about it, or boom, it's out of your brain, you don't think about it. I've seen this a bunch of different places, and people are like, get a sunlight alarm, it will wake you up. It does help, but here's what I've done to change it. So I was the type of person, when I would set my alarms for the day, I think we described this a little bit in a different podcast episode, but I would set like 18 different alarms so that I would know that, hey, you need to kind of start waking up. You need to. And then I would just know, well, I can sleep in a little bit longer. I can sleep in a little bit longer. So I'm trying to change that. I've gone like 3 days strong, but I do have a knockoff Amazon sunlight alarm that does work well. I have done a few things. I've set it up across my room. It used to be right next to me on my nightstand, but then I could easily shut it off. I've moved it across my room so it lights up the whole room. And so I have to physically get out of bed to turn it off. And what I've done is I've set only that alarm and like an emergency backup alarm, one other. So I know I'm getting up when the sunlight wakes me up. Has it been hard to wake up at the same time every single day? Yeah. Am I only 3 days in? Yeah, but at least I'm trying. So honestly, it does help a little bit. You just gotta be a little crazy. And you can get an Amazon one for like $30. You don't need a fancy Hatch one or any of the other ones. I've been trying to do this more on my phone. I have a bad habit of just sitting and scrolling or getting distracted, or I think of something and I feel like I have to Google it right away. I don't have to do that. Or how many notifications a day do you get? It's like, oh my God, you get an email from this, breaking news, blah, blah, blah. So I've been trying to put my phone on, there's a work mode on Apple, on the iPhone, or like a do not disturb kind of thing. And you can adjust like the work, excuse me. When it's on work mode, you can adjust what things come through to you, whether text messages from these four people can come through. Um, I want alerts from this, but then it can shut off everything else. So while I'm trying to work, I turn that on and it's been really helpful. And you can set up your home screen different when you turn it on. So then I just have all the apps that I need for work. That's it. I don't have anything else that could distract me. And that's been helpful. I've come to find out with my adulting, planning ahead for everything helps you out so much, whether it's food, what you want to do, literally anything. Plan it out ahead. You'll thank yourself later. Revolving around trying to like save money, save up for whatever. Thrifting has been super fun for me. I've saved a lot of money, shopping sales. Find something you like for $5 of a shirt of a style that you know not isn't not going to last forever, and just buy it secondhand instead of spending $45 on a t-shirt, which I would never do. So that's just me though. So thrifting, super fun. We're gonna do a whole episode on that later on. Um, Allowing yourself to take the time you need to make a decision. Not everything needs to be decided upon right away in point 0.3 seconds. I think about this too. I get a text message and I'm like, oh my God, I need to respond right now. Oh, I've waited 10 minutes. Is that? I'm like, no one needs to answer right now. Not usually. For 99% of the time, you don't need an answer right now. So take the time you need to make a decision, whether it's something simple as what you want for lunch or something as big as what college am I going to? Um, the next thing, I only have a couple more, I promise. I'm off of this is my TED talk for the week. Um, Reach out to the people around you. If you have a question or you're like, oh, I've heard that you do this. What do you like about it? Like, just reach out. There's a bunch of people who have been not in your exact shoes, but they've been your age. They've lived life too. They probably have answers for some things you might have questions to, or maybe they have good advice, or you can learn from them. So definitely reach out. And then try new things. I don't know about you, but I've been so stuck in, okay, here's school, and then I do this, and then I go to work, and then I have this extracurricular, and then I go home and sleep. Figure out what you like to do. Try new things. You don't have to love everything that you've tried, and I mean, you have low risk trying new things, so just go do them. And basically, to wrap this all up for my expertly unqualified advice of the week, find a routine that works for you. No one's been you before, so you need to figure out what works for you. For example, I was like, I need to start working out more. So I decided I'm going to sign up for this workout class that starts at 5:45 in the morning. Was it nice? Was it a good workout class? Did I like the people I went with? Yeah. And what I came to realize is I don't like waking up that early. So why am I forcing myself to do it 3 times a week? I kind of was like, oh, I don't really want to go, but I know I should go. No, I don't need to do that. No one's forcing me. Oh, if you're going to work out and you're going to get that six pack, you need to be at this 5:45 a.m. class. That's the only way. No one's doing that. And just find little things that you enjoy. I really do like the joy list. So I think I'm going to continue doing those, but just kind of sitting back and finding something that works for you. All right, I think I'm done blabbing away.
No, it's all really good advice though.
We're full of advice today.
But yeah, you covered so much. The only thing I will add is like give yourself permission to try and fail to figure out what's right for you because I feel like so many of us are under a lot of pressure to never make any mistakes, but unfortunately, the only way to learn is make mistakes.
Right. And when you're as a kid, you're like, I need to be the smartest. I need to be the fastest. I need to win everything. I need to get straight A's on everything. No, life doesn't work that way, and you can't compare yourself to others because that's like comparing apples to oranges. No one's lived the life you lived, so you can't compare yourself to anybody. So it's you versus you. How can you make yourself better?
And, like, you don't need to be better than anyone else either.
Why are you comparing
You
yourself?
just
It's
have to be
literally
happy. Yeah.
there's literally no other you, so there's no comparison. Boom. There you go. Mic drop. No.
So, moving on. Do you have any rants for this week?
I do.
Okay.
Okay. My favorite part of every week, the Expertly Unqualified rant of the week. Last week was an anomaly where we didn't have a rant really. I think you actually did have one eventually, but I want to know, why is deodorant so expensive?
Oh, I know.
Okay, so I've gotten like the Costco 12 pack, whatever, and I finally have used all of them. But then I keep seeing like it's better for some deodorants, like some have like aluminum in them or like other things. If you actually read what's in them, you're like, it makes me sit and think like, is that really what I want in a deodorant? And so again, I like trying. I love sample trials of different things, and so I'm like, I want to try something to see if I like it, but I don't want to spend $11 on one stick of deodorant. Does it cure everything? Does it decide what I'm eating for dinner that entire week? Does it go grocery shopping for me for $11? I was like, I remember when these were like, again, it's probably inflation or whatever, but I was like, when has it been that expensive? And then you use it for how long? I mean, it can't last that long. And then I'm like, what if I don't like it? What if I hate the brand? What if it doesn't smell good? I'm screwed. So why is deodorant so expensive? And if there's any deodorant brands who want me to leave a review on how good their deodorant is, let us know. We're open to reviewing. But I want to know, why is it so expensive? Is it solving world peace, world hunger?
I know. And, like, now they're making all these, like, whole body deodorants. So,
I don't
like,
know how I feel about those,
no.
but
It's like, so, like, now that deodorant's more expensive, why do I also need to use it over my whole body?
I can understand
Yeah.
some places, but I'm like,
No.
what?
Not my whole
What?
body. No.
I don't know. Just shower.
So,
Shower.
my rant for this week is, why do I spend all this time trying to find, like, the best skincare and hair care products just for them to discontinue something? Like,
Does it happen to you?
yeah. So they've discontinued my favorite leave-in conditioner. So now I had to buy a new leave-in conditioner.
What leave-in conditioner did you use?
I really liked I think it was the Garnier.
Fructis, the one in the green container?
Oh, they still make that one, but they had like a pure clean one that had like that I really, really loved. And they discontinued it. And it's
Aw.
always just so sad because it's only happened like once or twice to me, but like it's hard because it's like I started like buying beauty products in like middle school. So obviously I can't use like the same products for over 10 years without something being discontinued, but
Yeah.
it's just so sad once they do it.
The other thing too is the market is so saturated with so many different brands, so many different items. I've had that, like the lime green one. So many different things, and then you're like, "Well, which one do I buy?" And I love trying things. I'm like, "Let me let me try," but then I don't wanna spend all the money on it. And then I like all the little sample sizes. They give me the little sample sizes, but for girls it's so hard because there's
Hmm.
so many different products and items that you want and use, where guys it's like, here's 3 in 1: shampoo, conditioner, body wash. And so it's hard to find what you want with, so
And like,
I don't know.
this sounds really sad, but like, um, I started using like some of my fiance's like Suave leave-in conditioner or like, no, Suave like 3-in-1.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty good.
The guys stuff is
Yeah.
pretty, I've seen so many people use,
Yeah.
Old Spice deodorant
Uh
because
huh.
apparently it works better.
Uh huh.
And I'm like,
But I just don't like the smell of it, so I'll keep buying
yeah,
expensive stuff, but it's just a bummer that, like, it actually is good.
yeah. And you're like, why can't everyone else understand this? I would love to be the person who tries like 8 different things to pick the best, but then this is what's gonna happen. I'd be like, this one's really good. Product B is also really good. So I don't know how people have the disposable income to be like, here, I'm trying all these 18 different items and I'm gonna tell you the one you have to watch like a 20-minute YouTube episode to be a YouTube video and to figure out which one maybe you should purchase. And then there's always that one person who leaves a comment of like, the packaging had purple on it. I didn't like it. Would not recommend. And you're like, what? That doesn't have anything to do with anything.
So this
Ugh.
is another thing. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of this, but like, have you heard about how like Amazon and some retailers aren't like authorized sellers of bath and body products?
Oh, really?
So like, if you buy something on Amazon, it might be like the real product, but it might be a knockoff.
Well, I think I've heard of that. I fortunately have never had to experience that, but I could see it.
So I have eczema, so I like usually don't buy stuff on Amazon because basically like they put everything of the same item in the same bin with the same SKU number,
Oh,
regardless of like origin.
yeah.
But yeah, it's like so sad because like really would like to be able to buy like bath and body products off Amazon, but like I got
Yeah.
burned once, so now I'm too afraid. But any other rants for this week?
I think that's all I got. So we want to know if you know, why is deodorant so expensive and why do our favorite products get discontinued? It's not cool. It's not cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Expertly Unqualified, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye. All right, that's a wrap on our episode of Expertly Unqualified. If you stuck around this long,
You're either extremely loyal, extremely bored, or extremely caffeinated. Either way, we love that for you.
make sure to follow us wherever you get your podcasts and leave a review if you laughed, related, or were personally attacked by something we said. Find new episodes and more on our website, thepodmates.com.
And don't forget, follow us on Instagram and YouTube at Expertly Unqualified. Send us your stories, questions, or weird hot takes. You might just hear them on a future episode.
We are, as always,
Expertly Unqualified. Conversation's so fun, you'll forget we have no idea what we're doing.
This was a Podmates production.